We hopped in the truck and drove a couple hours to meet Christopher. He has an early 80s Yamaha XS 400, which is kind of like the quintessential, turn it into a cafe racer bike. And like most cafe racer projects, it's kind of like, here's the finish line and it's right about here. So we're gonna hang out today in his garage and see if we can get him over the hump and get this bike to the next step. Come on, Dan, we got some, I don't even know exactly what the bike is because I kind of like to be surprised and it just adds a little bit more of a challenge, you know? Hey, Chris.
Hey, sir. How are you doing, Greg?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Nice to meet you. This is it.
Yes, this is my nightmare. It's a Yamaha 400 Special that me and my son kind of tore completely apart. And,
nice.
You know, like you said, we're just kind of...
Getting over that hump. XS 400 Special. That was the first motorcycle, first street bike I ever rode when I was a kid.
Really?
My neighbor down the street got one when he was 16, and he let me ride it around the yard, and then I crashed it, and he got mad at me. He's probably watching this. I know he's watching this. Sorry, Ryan. My bad. Awesome. So what do we got? Cafe projects. They're always like, did you cafe it?
Yes, we tore
You built this whole thing?
Yeah.
No way.
We yanked everything off. The only thing I didn't touch was the motor. The front end from a GSXR?
GSXR?
Yeah.
Probably pretty standard conversion, I think. So we have electrical issues.
Yes.
What's it doing or not doing?
It starts, it runs. There's a few little things that it should do that it's not doing, but it eats batteries up like there's no tomorrow.
Just kills batteries. So how long would a battery last? Just out of curiosity.
Not even a day.
Okay.
It would last a day. As long as you're riding it, it's fine. Stop, go to start, it's like, and
okay.
It would eventually maybe catch a good stroke and then fire over.
So it sounds like battery is charging, but we have a draw?
That's what I'm thinking. I've pulled this thing apart so many times.
You know, that's a great part. Yeah, like, I mean, obviously, Chris here, you know, there's a couple bikes sitting around and stuff. He's no dummy. But when you're in and out of stuff and trying to figure out something, it's so easy to just, you just start overlooking things because you start taking things for granted and it messes with you. Hopefully, while we're here, we can get that corrected.
That would be awesome. My problem was I'd always have somebody going, hey, I can help you. They do it. Then it wouldn't work. Then somebody else come in.
Too many hands in the cookie jar.
I've got to get one person in here.
Yeah. Well, it looks nice. So you said this here, you called it an M unit.
Yeah.
I honestly am not familiar with them, but I believe what they're doing here is basically they're just using this to route all of our electrical functions. So we have an inboard side and an outboard side. So things are coming in and things are going out. That's how that works.
Expert diagnosis.
Expert diagnosis. So, where do we want to start? Actually, let's hear the bike fire up. I want to hear the bike
there's
fire.
Nothing.
Oh, there's nothing right now.
I tried to charge it. It won't even take a charge. I've got a new battery for it, so.
Okay, let me grab my tools. Dead. Okay, so yeah, let's get a fresh battery in there. Let's start with that. I'm gonna grab my jump box as well. What you're describing sounds like it's not a charging issue, it's a draw issue. We're gonna have to kind of go through this piece by piece, step by step, and figure out where we gotta draw or what's going on. Let me grab my jump box quick. These are loose. Do you wanna get a new battery on? Jump pack because the other one quit jumping. Okay, so when we're testing electrical and diagging electrical, you always do want to start with a fresh battery or a known good battery. So that's what we're doing here. We're gonna get the bike to fire up and I'm gonna do some charging tests just to make sure that all seems good. And then we'll try to figure out, you know, why it's killing the battery or what it's doing. But we're gonna start with charging. So we draw down to about 10. Okay, so it came back up. So we are charging, that's good. Are we overcharging? Why does the throttle go two ways? I don't think it's supposed to do that. Okay, so we are charging. That's good. Let's see if we have a draw. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this battery apart again. All right, we're going switch to amps, amps DC, and you put your meter in line. We're drawing 0.02 amps, and it looks like once this box stops flashing, the draw goes down, which makes sense. Okay, well that's interesting because there's only a couple ways to kill batteries. Either A, you're not charging while the bike's riding, B, you're overcharging and burning up the battery, or C, you have a draw. And at 0.001 amps, I don't see that being our problem. Good, let's look in the book. Let me see what the charging, make sure it's not overcharging. And we can sit in front of the air conditioner while we look at the bugs. Wire diagrams won't help us. Specs, 108 and 126. Regulating voltage, 14.5 plus or minus half a volt. So, I mean, what did we hit? 14.3? Yeah. So we're right there. That's great. So I'm going to say these here are, whenever you see 3 wires like this, that is coming from the stator. These 3 wires are your AC leads. So we have 3-phase AC through these 3 legs going down into the regulator rectifier. That's what changes it to the DC power. Okay. And then we'll regulate the voltage so you're not burning up the battery. So I'm going to pull resistance off these 3 legs, and we're just going to make sure that those windings, there's 3 separate windings on the stator, and that's what gives us the 3-phase. 0.9, 0.9, 0.9. So that's good. They're all set across there. This is the road map to what we got going on. Okay, so I checked the 3 wires coming out of here. We're good on all 3 of those. They come over, go into the regular rectifier. Looks like there's a gray wire. Okay, so these, okay, so wire colors aren't matching. We got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's where I think where I ran into the problems with people going, hey, I can help.
So this is like following a road map, but they changed the name of the roads.
Yes.
And you just have written directions. Don't have this power coming out of here. Looks like it should be going right up to the starter solenoid here.
Oh, okay. This is all hieroglyphics to me. I don't know how you guys even figure anything out.
Dude, it's what's like, I don't know, what's your like background or yeah?
Body man.
Okay. You want to talk about wizardry? You body guys, patience and wizardry. I don't know.
Patience, yes. This, I in 5 minutes, I'll ready to burn a bike down to the ground.
How are we not getting power here? I'm just trying to wrap my head around all this. I feel like this thing here, it's really cool. It is kind of neat, but I feel like it adds a lot of wires. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, that's what I thought too. But I just fell into the trap of it's the greatest thing ever.
It's the greatest thing ever.
You'll have your bike done in 5 minutes. Year later.
Year later. We need to get to whatever wires, some way to figure out what.
Okay. Do you want me to take the tank off or?
Yeah, I believe we're gonna have to. There's no way that.
Up in here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's pull this. Okay. So while you're pulling that off, I'm gonna keep following this road map here. See, this is not what we want.
What's going on?
The wires are not making good contact. So what's happening is, at least for this one, we don't have good crimps. So like, see how the wire just pulled right out? It's not what you want. All right, I'm gonna cut this insulation off and we'll see if we can recrimp. These things could be pretty finicky to this kind of stuff. You have a crimper handy? I never seen one of them before. Yo, look how satisfying this is. Look, right in here. Watch this.
Ooh. Do it again.
Yo, right? Let's try that. That just seems fun. What did it do? Ah, dang it. It didn't work. All right, we got more. Get a little redneck with it here. There we go. This wire here needs to run, it's this one here on the end.
Okay.
And that's running across and up to our ignition switch. And then the other one from the other side of the ignition switch runs across, down, and comes and should hook to here. So that's why I wanted to find the ignition switch wires and see what we have. I love how they just give you like all the same color wire. It's fantastic. Okay, cool. All right, so these are our ignition wires. That is confirmed. I'm not sure though why we have two. You guys did I'm not being sarcastic here, but you guys did a really nice job with this harness. But it's so nice, like I can't see anything. No, I appreciate it because that's how, like when I do it, that's how I want to do it. We need to get these wires squared away. So this needs to come down and around. See if we can figure out maybe if there's some excess or anything. But this needs to get to here. It says magic box. Where's the magic box? I'd like to see where the magic happens. Well, it looks like wires off the coil are going into it, so it can't be that hard to find, right? Oh, wait. There it is.
What's the magic box do?
I don't know. Magic? Magiciary?
Did you just say magiciary?
Yeah.
It's like a much longer way to just say magic.
Yeah, and I don't like taking shortcuts, okay?
Oh, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Just make sure nothing has changed. Okay, so that's all still working. So I don't know if this is right, like grasping here, it straws a little bit. But when you turn the key on and now we're getting power here, that could be opening the gate, the 12 volt gate to get things working through this switch better. Oh, here. All right, so do something again. Turn on a light or a horn or something. All right, yep, turn signals. Yeah, so I'm watching it all flash back here. Yeah. So now if you hit the horn again, yep, see how that moves? And then those, yep, see how that's all flashing around? So that's all working good. I don't know what these extra wires are for here. It doesn't make sense. I'm gonna crawl underneath here, see what I can see. Now, some of you may have noticed this is gonna be a really hard problem to duplicate and know if we actually got it fixed. But watch in real time as I figure that out for myself. Okay, I got a stupid question. How do we know when it's fixed? Like, is it gonna have to sit overnight? Does it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do we know?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we're not showing a draw, man. That should not be killing batteries.
So it should be good.
Jeez.
Do you think it was when we did that was the main problem?
It's very well possible.
Like I said, I would have it running perfect, and I'm pretty sure some gremlin would just come out and go,
Well, the problem is there's too many places for gremlins right now. You know, all of these little connectors, all of these connectors. I'm not saying this stuff here, but all those connectors, it's more spots for problems is all. You know, like these are just so, they're just so small.
I know. When I was putting them, that's why I got that crimper. That's what they suggested. I'm trying to use them. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're just so small that. Come to that point in the day where everybody's getting a little hangry. So I'm gonna set my multimeter up on the battery, put it to volts, and just see if anything changes while we go grab a bite to eat. So we went and had a sandwich, and we're still at 12.61 volts on our battery, which is good because that's where it was when we left. So it's not drawing down right now, which I like. I don't understand why they want two wires coming out of this thing, out of here. So they brought two wires, these two blue wires, and that's running over to the solenoid. Yeah. That's the only wire so far that I am seeing out of place. And I don't know what that would do as far as charging or anything. Our whole charging circuit seems to be working. Can we run it again? Yeah, we're charging. And it's right in spec. What do you have for wire pieces here?
I should have a little bit of everything in there.
Let's do let's make that correct. Jeez. That's not what you want to do. Let's not do that again. Okay. I kind of want to put the tank on and have you go around the block a couple times, if it will. And I want to take some more readings then. I want to get this thing to go dead, or I want it to not go dead at all, and then maybe we fixed it.
Okay.
I don't know what we did though to fix it, other than some loose connections or something. Maybe we got lucky. I don't know. Let's try that.
All right.
wouldn't feel bad either if we pulled this throttle housing off and kind of saw what was going in there too. Just because that has me a little...
Double revving isn't a feature?
Double. Should not have the double revving feature.
That's like a revving rocker switch.
Right.
Thing.
Dan, you're impressing me, man.
So you can rev faster. You're just working on this throttle.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious what was going on in there. I think it's just going to be what it is.
Well, I think I'll be able to catch all the action from right here. This is a pretty good angle right now.
Because you're in front of the fan and the AC?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I don't know, Dan. I don't know if we fixed it. I don't know, man. There's so many little connectors here and stuff that it could have just been, you know, this wire here was loose and that wire there was loose. Yeah, and we cleaned the ground. We moved some wires.
How's the tank look, Craig?
Rusty. I would take that off and put evaporust in. Let that evaporust sit for a while. It doesn't take long, so when the gas is low or whatever in these metal tanks, it condensates. I would go through and pull the carbs and clean the carbs. Do you feel good cleaning carburetors?
Honestly, I've never done a motorcycle carburetor before.
See, he's the exact opposite of me. I've never done a car carburetor before. This is the seat I should put on Brock's bike for the adventure ride. Be like sitting on a board.
All right, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. I'm excited. I want to see this thing go.
There's virtually no turning radius on this poor thing.
Okay, let's see here. Fuel on, fuel on.
Yeah, yep.
Fuel on, fuel on. Oh, yeah? Doesn't take a clutch or anything, right?
No, see, this is what I mean. This is the weirdest thing.
Did we just get it to duplicate the problem? All right, well, here, I'm going to turn this fuel off again. No way. Let's walk back inside. Told you. Oh, okay. All right, I like this, though. This is good. The battery's still showing like we have 12.6 volts, but we lost power to everything. I wonder if I blew the fuse. Blew the fuse.
Well, how'd you do that, Craig?
I don't know, maybe when I touched that and we got the spark.
Maybe one of the multiple times that the pixies attacked you?
Angry pixies. Okay, now I heard something happen. Yep, now we got power. Okay, I'm gonna fire this up. Okay, so now let's do fuel on, fuel on. Choke's still on. I don't know, guys, like I'm trying to work my way through this, and when you're diagnosing electrical or actually diagnosing anything, it's really, really hard to know you're on the right track or to see if you fix something when you can't duplicate the problem. So I really have no way of knowing.
Your favorite gas tanks?
Oh yeah, these are fantastic.
Oh,
I don't know.
made it too easy for him.
Okay, well, we got a little gas in, so let's see what that does. Yeah, let's just go around the block once or twice and we'll shut it off and see if it restarts, and we're gonna kind of try to make it duplicate the issue.
Keep the fingers crossed. No turning radius whatsoever.
So the idea here is we're gonna put a mile or so on it. Maybe it'll hit some bumps, jostle something loose. I don't know. I'm honestly at a little bit of a loss. Like I said, there's only like 3 things that I can think of off the top of my head that would kill a battery. 1 is the bike isn't charging the battery. 2 is the bike overcharges the battery. And 3 is there's a drain on the battery when the bike is turned off. Well, starting at the beginning, the charging system's charging. The regulator and rectifier is doing its job because we're within spec. We're at like 4 14.3 volts. Spec is 14.5 plus or minus half of a volt. So we are right there. That is all good. So the battery is charging. The battery is not overcharging. And when we did the drain, or we checked for a drain or a draw on the battery, we had a bit of a draw until that little computer box shut off. Once that computer box shut off, the draw went to basically 0. So I don't know. I'm kind of like 0 for 3 right now, thinking through my head of what could be wrong here. So we're gonna work here, like I said, putting a mile or two. He's just going up and down the block here, and maybe something will shake loose and point us in the right direction. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. If nothing else, we got to come down here, hang out with Christopher for a day, meet his family, and have a lot of fun. That's worth something. Sounds like Bubble Bike.
Yeah.
It started missing.
Yeah.
All right, let's shut it off and let's see if it'll restart.
The longer I ride it.
It just keeps going, okay.
You say it's already starting harder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when you just hit it the first time, it starts right up. The more you ride it, it was just 1, 2, 3, and then it'll kick on.
Let me look at this battery again. Leave it run. It's not overcharging. I'm almost wondering if it's not a starter thing. It definitely sounded like it was laboring to start there when you came back. But why would it do that? Do we have a starter issue? The only thing I'm seeing here, I wonder if this connection down here doesn't have corrosion on it. Could that be? Am I seeing that correctly? Do you see any corrosion in on that?
I can't. It kind of looks like it.
It's let's push it in. If you want to pick up the little bits, I'll push the. Thank you. So what we're doing now is he went out and rode it, and then we came back and it acted like it was starting hard, but the battery's full, like everything was fine. So I'm wondering if we don't have a little corrosion or something on the starter here. I am seeing some corrosion here. It's not horrible though, but there's a little corrosion there. They really don't give us enough room here to do much, do they? I'm really looking forward to my new True Arc summer shirts coming in. Okay, there is some corrosion here. People are going to be yelling at the computer screens like, that's not how you do this. I know. So I'm just trying to scrape some of this corrosion off the best I can. I'm not too worried about this stuff here on the outside. I'm more worried about where this thing is mounting. I'm gonna give you a homework. We would like to know how this thing acts in a day or so. Like if you're gonna be able to, you know, try to start it or do whatever.
Yeah, I'll let it sit overnight. I won't charge it. I'll see what it does first thing in the morning.
Does that seem like?
That's new.
Oh. Why didn't that jump it?
Did you blow the fuse again?
No, I just jumped the solenoid. That's just spun the motor. Do you have another solenoid by chance?
No, that's the only one I had.
Doesn't add up though. Why? I mean, nothing changed. Starter is hot. Let's try something here quick. You're gonna loosen that air filter, pop that air filter, and then loosen that carburetor, the back clamp for that carburetor. I'm gonna try sliding these carburetors front. All right, now we should be able to pop this off. Okay, so here we have a starter. Starter is holding quite a bit of heat. That starter shouldn't be this hot. Oh, okay. Well, the wire just, look at that. Now, I don't know if that was from me poking around here or if it was getting hot and it melted the solder. Seems pretty good.
You think maybe that since that was so bad and that connection was that as the bike was getting hot from riding?
Could be.
It sounded like I knew what I was talking about there for a second.
It's kind of crazy that I mean, that starter I don't think should have been that hot. Now, it sits in alongside the motor and this, you know, you're kind of in this metal box here and stuff, but there's not that much heat there.
What are you doing right now?
Working on a motorcycle, Dan. What are you doing?
Thanks, Craig.
So the starter didn't work now for some reason. So I pulled the starter back off. I found that the connection, the eyelet going to the starter was a little loose. We redid that. I just put it back on. Hook up the battery. Let's turn the key switch on. Okay, so we have lights. We have that stuff. Do we have starter? Did that? It's not engaging. Why isn't the starter engaging now? It's in all the way. It can't not. Well, there's nothing there for the starter to engage. Where did everything go?
What?
Look, there's nothing for the starter to engage.
It's not. There's nothing down here.
No.
Oh. Oh.
Right?
Oh. That. What?
I haven't done a house call yet where I made the bike worse than when we started.
Have you noticed any witches or like voodooists or something? Like casting spells on the bike?
There are little gremlins in here.
I told you, I'd get it to run. It'd be running perfect. And then the gremlin would come out and go, nope, sorry.
I don't know why that gear would have, like, I don't know. I don't know what's, I don't know. I should look it up. Oh, I didn't think there was oil in the stator cover. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Apparently this time there is.
Those sound like really fun dice to roll.
Will this fit under there? I had one, but it's...
Are you all right if there's oil in it?
Yeah, I don't care.
We have to pull this cover off, is what's happening. Does it show a breakdown of the starter or anything in the book?
I looked, but I might have...
I need to pull up a parts diagram. Okay. So that starter chain and gear and all that is a sliding fit. So apparently when you pull the starter, it all just falls apart.
You give it a whack with a rubber mount?
Yeah. And I think it should come out from this stuff. I think. Okay. Would you have any of those like plastic trim ply bars?
Yes.
I knew it. He's a body guy. Of course he does. We're going to need probably two of us here, and we're going to have to, because you're going to have to work one side and I'll work the other. Okay. Now I'll come here. Can you work your way down towards the bottom? Like work your way around. There we go. Okay. Now, is there any wires hooked to that, like a neutral or an oil?
I don't see anything.
Okay. Well, there's that chain. Crime Nitleys. What a screwed up deal, Yamaha. Screwed up deal.
Aren't you glad you picked me to come out and help?
Yeah, I'm like the guy. The worse it gets, the better it is. I don't know. But I do also freak out when I'm like, oh crap, did I just break this guy's bike?
That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
That's, yeah. Okay, I want to tighten up that starter.
Some engineer was just lying around in bed going, how can I do
Right,
this?
like, come on, man. I had no idea that all that was in there. I haven't run into that before. That was a fun new lesson. You can set it down now. It shouldn't leak anymore. Be a motorcycle mechanic, they said.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
So I said when I wanted to build a cafe. It can't be that hard. I've seen it on Discovery Channel.
Yo, if there's one thing I learned, it's the bikes that they build on the Discovery Channel don't work.
No. That's why I always see them right back in the shop there, in the back in the distance. Here, I'll switch with you because I can't get these.
I'm game to do whatever. That's what happens. See, that's why it's fun to work with a buddy in the shop, because when you both get front, you just switch sides. Well, that was a fun exercise in what's inside of a Yamaha. What's inside a Yamaha? No, I'm not gonna start, but we're gonna crank.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's cranking. We might be getting to the spot where, yeah, we have to kind of let this sit overnight or whatever and see if what it's doing.
Okay.
So these carburetors are super simple to pull, and they're actually really easy to clean.
Okay.
We all but have them pulled. Do you want to pull them quick? Or would you rather leave them on the bike? I mean, if you're like, yeah, I'm not going to clean them forever, whatever. I'll completely.
No, I'll probably do them this weekend, so.
Okay, well then let's pull them off quick. It's not going to take us but a minute. Here. Okay, and your side should work off. We're just kind of working back and forth here. Okay, perfect. Now see, here's the throttle cable, and that is on this butterfly right here. See?
Okay.
See that? I'm going to try to pull these my way. Okay, so here's the throttle cable. All right, here. I should try to take slack out, but you just have to kind of... Let me just remind you, this is an edited conversation of just two guys hanging out in the garage talking. It is by no means meant to be a complete instructional video on how to rebuild a carburetor. Keep that in mind, but pay attention because you might learn something. Yeah, so you want to 2 + 2 and stuff, just get that nice and clean. This is your float. Okay, so this is going to go up and down with the level of the fuel. And in here is what they call the needle in the seat right here. Okay. So gas is coming in here through this passage into here. When the float is down, so the float bowl is empty, it opens this up, and then as it fills up, it closes this valve. That fuel line comes over, does the same thing to this carburetor here. Now, what you're going to want to do to clean, we're going to pull, if you have an automatic center punch, you can put that on here and it'll spring, ping, but cover this backside so the pin doesn't go flying to your neighbors. Or just grab it with a plier and just kind of twist it out a little bit so that comes out this way. And then your float here is going to pull off. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just set them in a glass of water or something while I'm cleaning the carburetor, make sure they don't fill up and sink, make sure that they're still floating. All right. The seat is just a hole, and then this needle valve, it's either a rubber tipped or a metal tipped needle valve, and it just covers that hole. That's it. So make sure there's not any sort of scum. If it's rubber, if you see, it should kind of be a nice taper. If you see where it kind of like comes in and it's funny shaped, maybe from, just deformed from being in that seat and stuff too long, you can get carburetor kits, and the carburetor kits will have the gaskets, needle, and seat. So then you have your main jet. Here's your main jet. This is what's controlling your fuel from, like, say, half throttle on up, half throttle to 3/4-ish throttle, and that's on the needle here. So this is coming right up through the center, and see this needle in here? That's actually a tapered needle. So 3/4 or half throttle on up all the way to WOT. Now you're on your needle, and this is what's metering the fuel, this needle jet up here. The big one that you got to really watch for here is the pilot jet. In there is the pilot jet. You have a long, skinny screwdriver, straight blade that you can get in there. Okay, so get a good purchase on that so you don't chew up that bit. So you unscrew that jet. It's just going to be a little brass jet. This here gets unscrewed. Again, that's going to be a short, fatter jet here. Make sure that this pilot jet's open. This is your idle, basically almost like your idle circuit. So when you hear guys say like, hey, my bike only runs when the choke's on, it's because this pilot jet's clogged, because that hole through that jet's like really super small. So when they run it with the choke on, they're bypassing the pilot jet here and idling it and running it through the choke circuit is what happens. So if you ever hear that, that's what's going on. It's pilot jet. So you pull that out, get that clean, pull this out, get that clean, pull this here off, get all that good and clean. And then what I would do is I'd come over here and I'd pop these 4 here. This is a cap. Underneath this cap and on top of this slide is a rubber diaphragm. So if you blow in here, this slide should lift up. So I would just slide all that stuff out, and I would make sure that needle in there is just nice and clean. Other than that,
all right, and everything goes back together, just
everything.
No settings I should worry about?
No, the thing I would watch, the only real setting here you have to worry about is float height. The manual will give you float height, and that's measured, double checking the manual, but it should not be measured from this raised lip. It should be measured from gasket surface. So gasket surface to top of float when it's just in the resting position. Okay. General rule of thumb. I mean, that's pretty straight. I don't foresee that being an issue. These are mixture screws. It's just a brass screw, and it runs down into a taper. So what you want to do is take your screwdriver and turn them in all the way and till you just feel them seat. But that little tip on the needle, if you screw it in too tight, it'll deform that and mess that up. Okay. So it's just lightly seated, but count the turns in until lightly seated, and then pull them out all the way. Make sure the O-ring's good, clean that up. So like if this was 1.5 out, so you would turn it, and it takes you 1.5 turns to get lightly seated. Okay, so just pull it all the way out, right 1.5. When you put it together, lightly seat it, and just come back out your 1.5. Okay. Again, here, this is for your throttle cable. So when you put this back together, just kind of take note, this bracket needs to go on this one, that sort of thing. And then you have it all back together, everything's nice and clean. If your pilot jet, so when I pull your main jet should be fine. Your pilot jet's probably going to be clogged up a little bit. So, hold it up to the light, see if you can see through it, and then start going in with the wire and the compressed air and the 2+2. Then the only thing you want to watch, okay, this is your idle screw. This looks like it's in pretty darn far. Okay. So what that is telling me is these jets are probably a little clogged, and it was being overcompensated with by turning the idle up. Okay. So, well, I'm saying that because now once you clean these and fire things out, the bike, just, maybe what you want to do is back this off a little bit and then work your way back into it. When you're adjusting the idle like that, you want the bike up at operating temperature, and then you'll adjust a little bit and just give the throttle a little blip. Blip. You adjust a little bit till you like it, blip, and then that'll just kind of help settle everything in.
Now that's adjusting that screw.
Yes. The screw right here. Right. So yeah, that just determines where this all stops.
Okay.
Yep, this is your sync screw. What syncing the carburetor does is it gets these butterflies right at the same spot. When it's on the bike's running, bike's up to operating temperature, your idle's set, your air screws are set, the sync's kind of the last thing you do. And then you'll go through and adjust that, and then adjust the idle as you're doing that if needed, and then you're set to go. Okay. So that's kind of the last step. This is all pretty straightforward. I think you'd be fine.
I'll just tell my wife that Greg said that I needed to get an ultra Saturn cleaner.
Yep.
So I can add to my tools.
Yep.
Okay.
For how long it took me to explain how to do this, I could have just done it, but that doesn't help anybody learn either. Okay.
All right.
Pretty straightforward. You're good.
What I'll do is I'll let this sit. I'll hit it first thing in the morning, and I'll let you know.
I'm really, really curious. Well, if I'm curious, I'm sure you're curious too. Did we actually help fix this motorcycle, or did we just spend a day chasing our tail? All right, we came and we conquered. I don't know, maybe we conquered. I don't know if we fixed it or not. We're gonna have to actually wait a few days to figure this out, see if the battery holds a charge. But we went over the carburetors, we pulled the carburetors, showed Christopher how to go through them, get those all nice and clean. He's gonna keep us up to date on this battery. We're out of time for the day, so I'm curious as this thing sits for a night or 2 or 3 or 4, what it's doing. Hey, it's just one of those. So it's been about 2 weeks, and Chris and I have been talking, and he did confirm that the bike is still starting and the battery's holding a charge. He is also working at rebuilding those carburetors. Can't wait to see this bike out on the road. Things, man. It's one of those things. Hopefully we
killed one gremlin.
Hopefully we got one gremlin going on. So we brought you a shirt.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. This is great, man. We love getting out and meeting people and having a good time. And hopefully we move you to the next step a little bit. And you guys can get out and start riding and having fun. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Dan's gonna put a video here and here. Give them a watch. I know you're gonna love them. Don't forget to
subscribe. It's free.
And hit that notification bell. Have a great weekend. See you guys.